All right, sorry about that, guys. I'm having a lot of issues this morning. We should be good to go now. It's one of those Mondays. Not a great start to the week. There we go. All right, good morning, everybody. Sorry about the delay there. Good morning, Aquarius, Vu, Mike. Good morning, Dean, Yusa, Simon, Leo. Let's do this. Andrew, Blake, Tamer, Max, Rick, Barrage, Andrew, Music, Creso, Proven. Good morning, AT. Good morning, Nicholas. Good morning, Fernando, Trevor, Larry, Fred. Good morning, Blood, Steve, Taco, Mr. Robot. Good morning, eBay. Good morning, Playamade, Shima, Crown, TK. Good morning, Blessed. Good morning, Key. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you guys for stopping by the pre-market stream as well. Sorry about the delay on that one as well. I'll try my best to get everything sorted for tomorrow. Pulling back into VWAP here. This is that standard rotation that we were talking about during our pre-market stream. This is that rotation down to the value of low. Currently bouncing off VWAP a little bit, so it might be a failed rotation. We'll see what it does here. We have that kind of P shape forming on ES. Valeria low is 71, which also lines up with Friday's Valeria high. So losing that, you're looking for probably around 42, finishing the value retrace of Friday. I didn't have time to cover the sectors or the big companies on our pre-market stream. Let's take a quick look at those. Pretty much every sector is doing what we talked about with ES and NASDAQ, where they could be in bear flags. We don't know for certain until the next couple of days. So if we start to fail strongly today and tomorrow, then these are most likely bear flags and we're continuing lower. But for now, they don't look too bad. The exception to that is the consumer staples. They're not really in a bear flag. They're pretty bullish as long as they can hold above the upper part of the range. Right now, they are losing that range high. And then same thing with real estate. They're kind of in a range here, not really a bear flag. So they're just looking at their range highs there. And then for the large companies here, let's take a look. Pretty much the same story on all of those. Possible bear flags. Don't know for certain. Netflix trying to break its downtrend. Same thing with like Nvidia trying to break out of the downtrend here if it continues to look strong for the next couple of days. Keep an eye on Apple filling in that value retrace, or sorry, the gap fill into 219. Okay, here is the value low on ES. If it stays below this, you're looking for Friday's value low, which that's down in the mid 40s. Any news on why the Dow dropped so hard? Walmart had earnings. Were their earnings pretty bad? Let me see. Did Walmart push their earnings back? Now they're saying their earnings are on Thursday. I believe they pushed them back. Let me see. Okay, now it's saying Walmart is having earnings on Thursday, not today. So it is not from the earnings. That might have just been a TradingView mistake. This is why TradingView is not extremely trustworthy when it comes to earnings. A little annoying. I don't see a large drop in the Dow. I'm not sure what drop you're referring to. There isn't really a large drop. I mean, we're selling at the open, but we're selling at the open on everything. This is just a standard value retrace on the indexes. I wouldn't call this a really large drop. People are just kind of selling the open here. I was trying to see if I could turn off these numbers here. We'll take a look at it later. Let's keep an eye on this. A lot of sell pressure coming in here. Keep an eye on Friday's value low. Friday's value low is the obvious target here. This is an overnight fade. That overnight trend instantly being faded. Good morning, Em. Good morning, Ryder. I'm not sure what you mean, Andrew. What display picture are you talking about? Want a crown? Keep an eye on the overnight low coming up around 50, and then 42 is the main target. This is just a complete overnight fade, losing that overnight value. Very strong trend here. Keep an eye on the 5-minute highs and the 1-minute highs even. The 1-minute highs are being protected. So basically what happened was there was a Valeria high sweep. He started breaking that Valeria high bearishly before the open. So like we talked about on our trade plan, we needed to stay above that Valeria high right away, or it was going to go for the retrace. Friday's VWAP coming up at 53, and then Valeria low anywhere around the low 40s. Let's take a look at the clusters here. Do we have any dominant clusters? It looks like we have a pretty strong cluster around 67 to 70. The reason I'm not watching this chart so much today is because the liquidity is still pretty low. This chart works much better when the liquidity is normal or when it's high. We had the video curse where I made a video on this and then the liquidity got completely drained from the market. That should be back to normal pretty soon, hopefully. It's mostly because of the yen carry trade. The yen carry trade was providing a lot of liquidity to the US market. $67 to $70 is that node we want to keep an eye on, which is basically just the Valeria low in the POC of Friday. So not really any high strike rate patterns here. This is basically just an overnight fade. So you would have had to immediately sell the Valeria high right out of the gate. And that was pretty much the only pattern you have received today. This move is very far off the averages. So a little bit extended here. Hey, good morning, Mark. I'm glad you enjoyed that video. Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job explaining explaining the key concepts of the overlapping wicks and how you guys can trade them. I think you guys should have a very good understanding of what I mean now. Okay, here's that VWAP level, mid-50s. Next target would be Friday's Valeria low, which is around 43. Yeah, Simon, I already pulled the raffle winners. If you were one of the winners, you should have received an email from me. I believe both the winners have responded back to me. Let me double check. I know Andrew did. If you're in here, Andrew, I saw your response. I'll get you added as soon as the stream is over today. I think I'm waiting on the other winner. Let me see. Our other winner was Alberto. If Alberto's in here, check your email. But yes, we do a raffle every single month. So we're going to have a raffle for the end of this month as well. So anything you guys signed up for using our codes, our Apex code, our Addis code, I'll even throw in Seeking Alpha as well, since they're our new partner as well. As long as you guys have used those codes, just send me the receipts. Not now, but I'll ask for them at the end of the month. And then we'll do another raffle. Try to give back to you guys as much as I can. You guys provide a lot of support to the channel. I appreciate you guys helping in every way you can. Okay, here's that VWAP target here at 53. Keep an eye on the Valeria low as the next target if we break through Friday's VWAP. Very strong trend here. This is pretty much a textbook overnight fade. Unfortunately, this was one of the overnight fades that didn't really give you a lot of time to prepare. It pretty much just started selling immediately out of the open. So basically what I was saying on every single daily chart is not looking good so far. So all the major dailies look like bear flags, right? This whole bounce kind of looks like a bear flag. So if we don't show a lot of buy pressure above these highs here, above that kind of 5350 to 5400 area, this looks pretty bad moving for the next week or two. Moving on for the next week or two. So not looking good. Not a great start to the week. The Monday open was pretty much on the high. It was on the level that we need to see a lot of buy pressure, and not really seeing it so far. They are trying to buy this VWAP, the VWAP close of Friday. Nice little move there. Let's take a look at the cluster chart, see if we have any clusters coming in here. Both sides are finding value around this 60 area. Still have that bearish cluster being protected around 70. Not seeing a ton of absorption here. There's a little bit of absorption, but you can see that volume falling off very quickly. So they are not in danger of being squeezed out. Just a little bit extended. So they're putting in a defense node here, trying to protect this node around 58. They need to stay below the value low, which is around mid-60s here. Another big A session. Yeah, man, the A sessions recently have been insane. That's what happens when you have very low liquidity. Like, this is ridiculous. Our tape has looked like an FOMC tape every single day for, what, 2 weeks now, a week and a half? This is the lowest liquidity on ES I think I've seen in, honestly, since COVID, I think. Probably the last, like, 4 or 5 years. I couldn't imagine how bad it is for you guys trading NASDAQ. The slippage is probably pretty bad. Well, it's a combination of summer, which lowers the liquidity a little bit, but it's mostly combined with the Japanese yen carry trade. So there was a lot of liquidity. Some estimates were 10 to 15% of the market liquidity was being provided by the Japanese yen carry trade. So when they started raising rates, they just sucked all the liquidity out of the market. It should stabilize. It's slowly stabilizing, I think. It's not as bad. I don't think it was like a week ago, but it's still pretty bad. I think we should all still be trading micros for the most part. If you guys are trading futures, if you guys are used to trading big contracts, the volatility is extremely high right now. So unless you are trading strategies that do very well during high volatility, you probably all want to be trading micros and not the large contracts. And I don't just mean converting your large contracts to micros. I mean actually lowering your size. Yeah, exactly, Robert. So basically, people were just borrowing the yen, converting it, and then taking taking advantage of the high interest rates in the U.S. or other markets, mostly the U.S. because we had 5.5% rates. Okay, still holding that VWAP from Friday. That's where VWAP closed on Friday. Looks like a bear flag. Looks like it wants to continue to the downside here. They don't have a very strong cluster that they're protecting here. It's kind of a 50-50 node. But as long as they protect that node around 58. Keep an eye on these nodes right here, putting in a lot of delta on the low. So if they bounce here, they're going to be absorbed, but it doesn't look like they're going to bounce. Look at that delta coming in. So using our method that we were talking about yesterday on that video, there were some overlapping wicks here. Did not matter. They blew right through them. You had some overlapping wicks there. Didn't matter, right? They keep breaking them. Another thing is typically when you're trending up, like I talked about in the video, typically you want to look for those overlapping wicks on the high. So like these wicks down here, because we were trending down, we can look at these wicks on the downside. That'd be a pretty far drop, but that's where a lot of the buyer demand is currently. That is a very nasty 30-minute candle. This A session is wiping out the entire pre-market and about half of yesterday as well. Or not yesterday, Friday, you know what I mean. The last trading day. Good morning, Angelo. Did you guys have any questions, by the way? Any questions about that video? The overlapping wicks video? I didn't see any major questions in the comments, so if you guys had any, just let me know. I think for the most part, that strategy is very straightforward. There's not a whole lot to it. It's not super complicated. The hardest part is just being patient. That strategy is very helpful during times like this where the liquidity is very low because we can see where the actual traders the actual trades and the liquidity is happening. Good morning, AZ. Good morning, Gavin. There's many different ways you can trail. Most recently, I've been talking about trailing with the 5-minute highs, 5-minute lows, because we have been so trendy on those 5-minute candles and 30-minute candles. So typically, when you get into a strong impulse, you can just keep an eye on the 5-minute highs. As long as they're being protected, your trail is okay. That's if you're shorting, obviously, and then vice versa for longing. If you're taking more of a longer term trade, like on a 30-minute, you can do the same thing with a 30-minute, but the problem is when you have 30-minute candles like this, that trail is going to be extremely far away. You could also use the bots. The bots will hold their signals pretty long. The bots are probably the most conservative. So like if you're looking to hold a trade as long as possible, they will be holding longer than most other trails. But that also means if there's a sharp bounce, they're going to be one of the last ones to get out. So most aggressive is probably like the 5-minute highs and lows trail. The 24 EMA is going to be about the same level if you use that on the 1-minute. A little bit more conservative would be the bots, and then very conservative would be the 30-minute high and low. But yeah, recently the 5-minute trail has been pretty solid because the volatility is so high. Still holding on to that VWAP from Friday. Sadly, no bull div here. That would have been a very nice bull div trade. Typically, when you have a low like that, it does create a bull div. Pulling back into those 5-minute highs and that 24 EMA. Still has not lost a 5-minute high. I'll show you the candles here. The 5-minute high would be 59 or 61. Okay, so this is a little bit dangerous for the sellers because they are being absorbed. This lower delta, a lot of delta came in on the low there. You can see that big push down on delta. They were not able to find any profit. So these traders are getting stuck here. So if they can hold above this like 55 to 58 node, you possibly could start squeezing these traders out, maybe pushing back into VWAP, which lines up with this bearish cluster right here. Here's that pullback into the value real low. If they want to be very bearish, they need to sell this value real low, looking for yesterday's. I keep saying yesterday. You guys know what I mean. Friday. Friday's value real low at 42. Pretty red market. Nvidia's up 2.25, 2.5. Not a bad day on Nvidia. Back to our 108 level. How is our premium watch list doing? Looks like everything is green. .24 EMA being protected, 5-minute highs being protected. You did break this 5-minute high just barely. I think it broke by like a point. Looks like you are wicking that level. Back testing the value real low here. Yeah, I use a lot of composite profiles. If you watch my summary of markets, when I do like my daily and weekly analysis, I use a lot of composite profiles. I don't use that on like scalping those. Not really a point to use it on scalping. Good morning, DJ. Appreciate you guys all being here. If you enjoyed the channel, hit that like button. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes today. Still looking like a very strong candle here. Bouncing off Friday's VWAP beautifully. Recovering the Valeria low. Here's that squeeze into VWAP. Here comes VWAP at 64 and 69. Keep an eye on VWAP on NASDAQ as well. This could be a bear flag in the VWAP, but this delta is very strong. They're squeezing out that absorption we just talked about. You can see they absorbed a lot of bearish delta on the low, squeezing them back into that cluster. Keep an eye on that cluster. Right on VWAP. This is the session VWAP here. Okay, 5-minute highs completely being broken here. This is that squeeze. This could be a bear flag in the VWAP, which has been pretty bearish the last few weeks. They have been selling this almost immediately. This is a lot of delta for a bear flag, though. I'd be careful selling this without confirmation. Typically, bear flags in a VWAP are a lot slower than this. Here's that cluster right on VWAP. We'll see if they protect it. By the way, if you guys didn't watch my summary of markets, I am going on vacation this week, so I will not be streaming Thursday, Friday, or Monday. I will be putting out some videos, though, for you guys to watch while I'm gone. So I'll probably have videos coming out Thursday, Friday. I don't know about Monday, but I should have at least 2 videos coming out on Thursday and Friday. They'll be like short how to trade videos. So I think one of them I'm going to do is discussing my 5-minute trailing method. And then the other one will be talking about the 8 and 24 method. So using the 8 EMA, the 24 EMA, kind of seeing where the aggressive traders are, where the responsive traders are. So look out for those videos coming out on Thursday and Friday. Yeah, I don't think I've taken a single vacation day all year. So this is my first big vacation. So I will be missing stream for a couple days. Breaking through that cluster, they're actually completely flipping it. A lot of buyer delta coming in here. Buyer delta right on VWAP. Look at that strong close on the 5-minute. This goes back to what I was saying about bear flags in a VWAP. Typically, they do not get this much delta, so this is pretty damn bullish here. Keep an eye on a possible sweep back below VWAP if they sweep back into 64. Yeah, I didn't think about it. I forgot Labor Day is a market holiday. I could have taken vacation on that weekend. I wouldn't have had to miss 3 trading days. Hopefully we don't miss too much. I am going to take my iPad just in case. I'm going to try not to trade or look at the markets too much, but if something crazy happens, I'll let you guys know. Why 64? That's the lower VWAP. So if we sweep back into the lower VWAP, we would be losing both VWAPs. So it becomes almost like a VWAP trap. I'm going to be gone Thursday, Friday, and Monday. So basically like a 5-day weekend. I'm going to have videos coming out Thursday and Friday for you guys to watch while I'm gone. Possibly Monday, but I don't think so. It might be just the weekly summary of markets on Monday. Just going to the beach, just taking a small beach trip before it gets too cold. We're not typically summer vacation people. We typically like to vacation in the fall, which is why I haven't taken a vacation pretty much all year. Do a beach trading video? Yeah, I should. Yeah, I need to figure out like a mobile trading setup. I don't typically like trading on the go, but I would like to plan like a pretty long European vacation next year, so I need to figure out how I'm going to trade. Maybe I'll have to set up like Starlink or whatever it's called. Yeah, I've thought about that as well. The remote access to your PC. I've never done anything like that. It seems a little dangerous if you do it wrong. Yeah, exactly, Paul. Yeah, coffee shop Wi-Fi, let people steal my information. Portable USB-C monitors, yeah. Yeah, I wonder if they have like portable monitors that you can attach to the iPad. You've used Google Remote Access? Yeah, I'll have to look into it. I'm not going to do it for this vacation, but possibly my next one or my vacations next year. Insanely strong 30-minute retrace candle here. We're seeing almost a match bar on this 30-minute, and it's only 15 minutes in. Ridiculous retrace here. Bounced perfectly off Friday's VWAP. Okay, so that absorption is definitely played out. They absorbed those sellers and now they're squeezing them out. You got to watch out for stuff like that during a strong trend. So now we have a bit of a bullish cluster here. Bullish cluster around 65 to 70. Putting in another small one just below price here as well. This is a very strong trend, very strong move here. Keep an eye on those 5-minute lows. It was called Chrome Remote Desktop. Gotcha, I'll take a look at it. Yeah, the problem is streaming requires a pretty decent internet connection, so it's pretty hard to stream on Wi-Fi. I guess if I did the remote access thing, it would be using my home internet, but I would still have to have a decent connection to run the remote access. Good morning, Ike. Yeah, worst case scenario, I could just do like an audio only stream. But I know a lot of you guys like watching my charts. That'd be like worst case. Worst case scenario, I would just give you guys my commentary off my own charts. I don't plan on doing that for like these short trips, but if I ever take like a long trip where I'm missing like an entire week, at most, typically my vacations are like 4 to 5 days long. We're not long vacation people. I hate being out of the market and away from trading for too long. I try to pick weeks that don't have like major news. Like if you look at the calendar, this week I am missing a bit of news on Thursday, which is a little unfortunate. But most of that data on Thursday is pretty lackluster. Friday, I don't really care about any of that stuff. Friday's not too big of a deal. And then Monday, I think there's literally nothing on the calendar on Monday. Yeah, Monday there's nothing on the calendar. And I wanted to make sure that I was back before the FOMC. We have FOMC minutes on Wednesday. Next week is pretty heavy. You definitely don't want to go on vacation next week. You're getting 6 upload, gotcha. Yeah, streaming, you would probably need a minimum of like 20 to 25. You don't need a ton, but you need a minimum of probably 20, 25. Yeah, Planet, I try to. On most of my vacations, I don't trade or anything. I just take an actual vacation. But obviously, you're missing a lot of opportunity if you're missing like 5 trading days. And it's only like an hour a day, really. Like if you don't have to trade the entire day. You could log in for 9:30 to a 10:30, maybe 2 hours tops, 9:30 to 11:30, and then call it a day. You don't have to be sitting there for 8 hours a day. Those bullish clusters are being protected, by the way. This still looks pretty bullish. Keep an eye on those 5-minute lows. I'm not an initial balance trader. I typically don't watch it too much. We haven't even formed the initial balance yet. The initial balance doesn't close until 10:30. Yeah, exactly, Planet, exactly. And the Europe time zone is actually not that bad. Because the Europe time zone for US markets, you're 5 hours ahead, right? So it's not terrible. It's almost like you take a little lunch break. Take a little lunch break, trade for an hour or two, and then go back to your vacation. Keep an eye on these 5-minute lows here. 5-minute lows being held. As long as they're held, this trend is very stable. This all started from that absorption that we were talking about. There's a lot of absorption on the lows there. That absorption is being squeezed completely. All right, so we know that we're just watching the 5-minute lows and basically all the delta down to 65. So let's go ahead and take a look at the larger chart here. That is a ridiculous 30-minute candle. US markets open at 2:30 p.m. in London. Yeah, exactly. That's a good time. Yes, so this would be an incomplete auction if we close like this. So the incomplete auction would be from Friday's value low to today's low. So like that general area right there. Yeah, I have no plans to stream for this vacation like I was saying. Just keep an eye on some videos coming out. I have some videos coming out for you guys on Thursday and Friday. I try to always have like content coming out if I am going on vacation. Give you guys something to watch. So I'll make a video talking about the 5-minute trailing technique. Which is not used for like entries, it's more used for trails, keeping those trades active. And then I'll talk about just my general method using the 8 and 24. The 8 and 24, finding aggressive buyers, responsive buyers, stuff like that. Yeah, Bill, basically what happened on the A session, if you watch my overnight fade video, I talk about it in more detail. But when you have an overnight session that's very one-directional, it's kind of tempting the traders at the open to test that overnight. Because overnight value is typically not as strong as it looks. So if they form a very one-directional trend, The big boys know that they can test that trend rather easily. And that's exactly what happened today. You had a very one-directional trend on the overnight. It offered them a lot of liquidity to test that trend, so they tested it. If you're referring to my bots, Ryder, they're doing just fine. They do really good on moves like this. The NASDAQ bought, or sorry, the NASDAQ sold at 637 right at the open, and it bought at 574, and it's been long since 574. So close to 200 points. Yeah, exactly, Paul. They're basically just hunting. They know those traders that were trading the pre-market, if they're still holding, they're kind of like suckers, right? They think the trend is strong, but they're mistaken. The trend is not strong. It's very easy to break. No, Ryder, I don't typically announce all the bot signals. Majority of people in chat have access to the bot. If you guys are Discord members, you have access. If you guys are Apex members using our partnership, you guys have access. Okay, 30-minute candle closing as a complete match candle. Typically, these are very strong reversal candles that look to start a trend in that direction. So it's looking to start a trend bullishly, failing to hold above the value area high so far. Would need to hold above 86. Keep an eye on those 5-minute lows still being protected. Let's take a look at our cluster chart. Are we seeing any big clusters up here? So pretty much the entire candle is a cluster. They're doing a very good job being one directional. The delta is extremely bullish. So realistically, we don't even really need to mark out these clusters because the entire candle is one big cluster. It's one of those consistent momentum candles. Unfortunately, we don't have any great examples of the overlapping wicks that we talked about in our video yesterday. You had some on the pre-market, but they got completely nuked. And that was obviously on an uptrend. These are the best ones we have. The ones on the low down here. I don't think we have any high wicks up here. Not really. Because this one I wouldn't really consider that strong of a wick. You could mark this one out a little bit. There's a little bit of resistance around that node. Not a whole lot. The daily is back above that 80 MA. It's trying to break that bear flag structure. Typically, if you do recover the 80 MA, the bear flag is less likely. But we're right on it, so we still could be a bear flag in the next day or two. So we finished our upper rotation into the Valeria Hive. It stays below 86. We're going back into a lower rotation, back into 64. 5-minute lows probably about to be tested here. So those trails are about to be broken. You have a bunch of trails, right? You have the 5-minute trail. You have the 24 EMA on the 1 minute. You have the bots. Those trails are coming up on this pullback here. I need to mute my mic for a minute. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. Okay, so like I said, trend is pretty stable. Keep an eye on those 5-minute lows, 24 EMA, bots, whatever you want to use for your trail. The trails have not been tested at all, I don't think. Every single trail is still intact here. Hey, Sniper, so typically with the bots, big buy pressure coming in here, by the way. Typically with the bots, I call it the waterfall technique. I use 4 time frames. And those 4 time frames can be they can be like 1, 2, 3, 5 if you're scalping. They can be like 1, 5, 15 daily. Depends on like what you're trying to use them for, right? If you're doing more of longer term, you could do like the daily, weekly, monthly. Um, but what I do is I watch 4 time frames and I see how the trends are building up on each one. So like if let's say the high time frame bots are all in buy signals and then the low time frame bots start to go into sell signals, it's going to waterfall into those high time frames. So it's going to start with the 1 minute, then it's going to go into the 2 and then 3 and the 5 and so on and so forth. So I like to see how they're moving on the different time frames. And then if all the time frames are saying buy or sell, then you want to stay on that side, right? If every bot's in a buy signal, it's very hard to be a seller. Like right now, all of our bots are in buys. The NASDAQ bots started buying around 574, so about 200 points ago. The ES bot, let me see. The ES bot started buying around 57, so about 40 points ago. So right now, Chris, I'm not using the bot signals as entries. I'm just using them for trails. If I ever use them for entries, it just depends on what type of pattern we're looking for. So like, let's say it's one of our rollover top setups. So rollover tops, how they play out on the bots. If I'm watching the 1, 2, 3, and 5 minute, all of the bots, let's pretend like right now, let's say right now we're putting in a rollover top, which we're not. But let's say we're starting to form one right now. If we're starting to form one right now, and it starts to put in that high, the 1 minute is going to quickly shift into a sell. And then as it goes in to put that lower high in for the rollover top, the 2 and 3 minute are going to start to sell. Right? So it depends on how late those sells come in. So if we put in the high here, and then we put in like the lower high, if I missed that lower high entry, I'm going to look at the bots and see, okay, the 2 minute bot's starting to sell here, the 3 minute bot's starting to sell here. If they're selling pretty close to where I wanted to enter anyway, then you can use those for your entry. It just depends on how late the sells come in. Because like I said, the bots are very conservative. The bots try to keep you in the trail as long as possible. So sometimes they're a little late on those quick moves. The bot starts with Oasis Trading Group. So look for Oasis Trading Group in your invite only scripts and then you should find it. No, these are bots that I created, Sound. We coded them from scratch on TradingView. Yeah, so a good way to think about the take profits on the bots is because the bot is so conservative that it tries to keep you in that trend as long as possible. I wanted to create take profit signals that give you opportunity to get out if you're really itching to get out, like if you don't want to hold that trade anymore. So those are kind of like resistance points, support and resistance, right? So it's not completely killing the trend. It's not completely flipping the trend. It's just kind of stalling a little bit. By the way, we're going back into our rotation here. The 5-minute low trail has been taken. Here is the 24 EMA trail. We'll see if that one gets taken. Is there any absorption going on here? There is. So a decent amount of contracts being absorbed on the high there. Possibly going to squeeze them out. But when I say trail, I typically mean like if you guys are in a trade, if you're using our setups to enter trades, typically you're going to be leaving a runner. You're going to be leaving a trade open, a part of your trade open for the bigger trade, right? So you might take maybe you take profit at like 5 points, but you leave some contracts open for the entire trend. So there are many different ways that you can trail that runner. So whenever I say trails, that's what I'm referring to. Keeping that trade alive. So right now you have the 5-minute trail, which is being tested. The 5-minute lows are being tested. They're not really being broken too badly here, so it's not really a big deal. But then you have the 24 EMA on the 1 minute. That's also a trail. You have the bots, so you could trail as well. Yeah, I don't have NASDAQ pulled up, Chris. This is only ES, and this is oil. We're at 70 likes. Can we get that to 100 today, guys? Appreciate you guys hanging out in the stream. Yeah, no, this isn't NASDAQ. That's oil. I don't show the tape on NASDAQ because it's just not healthy to watch, really. There's so much slippage. There's so many level 2 orders. It's just really not helpful. Most likely not, Jay. I will most likely not be sending out the newsletter. If I do, I haven't decided how I'm going to manage that right now, Jay. If I do send it out, it's going to be like literally just the levels and nothing else. I'm not going to make like a full trade plan like I do when I'm at my desk. I might take a look at the profile on my iPad or something and say, "Hey guys, here are the major levels to watch." Um, but I'm not sure. It depends on how busy I am in the morning. My wife is a morning person. She likes waking up pretty early. So if we're at the beach at like 8 o'clock or something, I'm probably not going to be posting the levels, to be honest. It depends on how early she's going to be waking me up. Dennis, I don't have the bots fully automated. They're not like actively trading without my input. They can be automated. They are built to be automated. They are not currently automated. I haven't found a good program that fully automates them for futures. When I was fully automating them, just going to bed, letting them run, it was always on crypto. I was fully automating them on Bitcoin and Ethereum on the higher time frames. For scalping, I just use them discretionally. So here, I can probably show you something. Let me see. That's not what I wanted. So this is kind of how my other monitor looks. I keep my 4 bots. I keep my 4 bots over here at all times. And then this chart is usually broken up into like 4 charts. I typically have like 4 charts with my Momos and my OTS. Right now, I'm keeping an eye on the 5-minute chart on ES because of the trail. So we're watching those trails. But usually all of my bots are on this part of my monitor right here. So I have my 1 minute, my 2 minute, my 3 minute, and my 5 minute. So you can see their buy signals. It's probably a little hard to see on the screenshot. So that's what I call a waterfall. You can see that it started to buy on the 1 minute, then it started to buy on the 2, and then so on and so forth. So if I was in a trade here and I saw this happening, I feel pretty safe to hold on to my trade because all 4 bots are in buy signals and they are there's no like clear break of the trail. There's a bunch of take profits. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. That's probably about as big as I can make it. There's a couple of take profits. So I know that we're getting towards a high here. They're definitely finding a little bit of sell pressure. There's no take profits on the 5 minute, which is good. So like if you're really itching to get out of this trade, it's kind of telling you here's a good place to take profit, but it's not fully closing the trade yet. So that's how I'm watching it. Like I said, for you guys that are new here, this monitor that you guys are seeing on stream, this is like 25% of my screen real estate. I watch a lot of stuff. Okay, by the way, this is a rollover top on NASDAQ, putting in a lower high here. So if they lose this 24, they're looking pretty weak. Two more likes for 100. We're already at 100. Appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome, man. Jay, the trading suite is not one of our bots. The trading suite is more of a, it's kind of like an all-in-one package. Like the trading suite gives you trend analysis, so it tells you if you're trending bullishly or bearishly. It gives you a trail, which is the dotted line. It gives you support and resistance, which are the pivots. So it kind of does a little bit of everything. I like using the trading suite when I am looking for my sector plays. So whenever I'm trading, by the way, that rollover top looks like it's coming in here on NASDAQ. I like using the OTS for my sector plays when I'm building a portfolio for stocks and options. I like using it on the higher time frames. If I am struggling to find targets, like if I don't like the volume profile targets, I will use the pivots as my targets on the 5 and the 30 minute on ES and NASDAQ. The pivots are usually pretty good targets. They also confirm reversals. So like today we had a pivot at 53.52, damn near the low of day. So that was confirming that that was a strong reversal there. We also bottomed on a pivot almost to the exact tick. There was a pivot at 48, which we bottomed on. So I always have the OTS pulled up on my other monitor just to look at how the trend is holding up and where the major levels are. Like I said, I watch a lot of stuff. I watch way more stuff than I recommend most of you guys should watch. But I'm a confluence trader. Like I like seeing things line up on many different setups, many different indicators. It makes me feel more comfortable when I'm taking those trades. Some people don't like the confluence side of trading. They like just seeing one simple setup and they call it there, right? They don't look for a million things to line up. They look for one thing. That's good enough. They take it. I don't like doing that. I like looking for many things lining up. Trading is just one big thing of personal preference. I don't have that one shared, Chris. But all you have to do is put it in a 4-way and then just put the bots on it. There's nothing crazy about it. Just throw the bots on your chart and then put it on a 4 screen. I have no special settings on that screen. You can only put it in a 4-way chart if you have, I believe, Pro Plus or Premium on TradingView, which they have like a million plans now. Yeah, Chris, if you're talking about my bots on the higher time frames, that was for crypto. So crypto, we were running them on I think the 4-hour and the daily, if I remember correctly. That 24 EMA is just glued to price right now. You're holding on to it, not seeing any major sell pressure. Hey, we broke 100 likes. I appreciate you guys. If you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe. We do stream 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9:30 in the morning. We also started a pre-market stream at 8:30. I will not be streaming this Thursday and Friday. I'm going to be on a small vacation. I come back on Tuesday. Not exactly, Robert. A lot of my trading techniques overlap with fair value gaps. So like LVN zones, single print zones, value zones, they all kind of overlap. But I don't do the exact fair value gap method. There are a lot of concepts that people created based on price action patterns that they don't realize completely overlap with volume profile concepts. Like pretty much any accumulation or distribution pattern lines up perfectly with volume profile. Fair value gaps line up with single prints. There's a few other ones as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. opening range trading lines up with initial balance trading. Yeah, Michael, a lot of traders like to have, like, even just looking at my screen right here, this would blow up a lot of traders' heads. They like to just have one screen, price action, candlesticks, and just drawing out some levels, maybe some zones here and there. I am very good at having a lot of things in front of me and not paying attention to them, um, like at the same level. Like it doesn't overwhelm me because I don't really pay attention to all of them every second. I think streaming helped me with that a lot because when I'm streaming, I have to learn how to like disassociate with certain things because I have to pay attention to stream while I'm paying attention to the charts. It really helps me with my multitasking. When I first started streaming, it was a pain in the ass. It was very, very hard to trade and commentate and watch chat, even when I had like 10 viewers, 30 viewers. But I'm pretty good at multitasking now. It also helped me cut down on my trading. It made me realize that I did not have to trade 100 times a day. I could trade like 2 to 3 times a day. It's much easier to manage a couple of long-winded trades than keep getting in and out every 5 minutes. Micro scalping while streaming, while commentating is basically impossible. Five-minute trail still holding, 24 EMA trail still holding, bot trail still holding. 30-minute low trail still holding. That one's obviously very far away. This absorption is now being protected. Top heavy candle on the 30-minute, protecting that absorption. Very bullish. I know I sound like a broken record every day when I constantly talk about all the trails and staying in one direction, but I try to help you guys understand that you don't want to be trading against these trends, right? I think a lot of people constantly get stuck looking for shorts on moves like this. And I try to remind you guys that unless a pattern shows itself, if you're shorting this, you're getting killed. Like a move like this is insanely strong. It's up 50 points in 30 minutes, basically. For like an hour, I guess you would say. That was a beautiful bounce off that VWAP. The VWAP of Friday, this little hash line right here. You see the dots right here? That's the VWAP close of Friday. Bounced beautifully off that level. So tail extension, we were looking for the tail extension on Friday and Thursday. It did not complete that tail extension. It's coming up at 5,400. Yeah, these are very large moves, so I wouldn't beat yourself up for missing a move like this. That's why we like to leave runners, right? We try to catch moves like this as much as we can with our runner, but if you caught like 5 or 10 points off that low, you're perfectly fine. Most people are not going to hold for a 50-point move. Hindsight's 2020, right? It's a lot easier to say you would have held looking at it afterwards. I try to just give you guys the thought process behind why you would have held. So the thought process behind this one is once we broke through VWAP, there was basically no sell pressure. VWAP was the level that we really needed to hold on to if we wanted to continue being bearish. It broke through VWAP. Every single 5-minute low was being protected. 24 EMA was being protected. The bots were in buys, etc., right? So that is why you would have held. Doesn't mean you had to. This is a vertical distribution. You can typically see vertical distributions if you guys watch the 1-minute bot. The 1-minute bot will do this. I'll show you a screenshot. One sec. The 1-minute bot will do this when it's in a vertical distribution, where it has take profit, take profit, it will just keep taking profit. It will keep hitting that upper cloud, and it will keep taking profit into the midline. Because it's telling you that resistance is being found as you're pushing higher, but they still just keep breaking through it. So it's not killing the trade, it's not going into a sell, but it is seeing multiple take profits. You can see how strong that sell was this morning. We only had one take profit right away, and then we nuked, and then we had one take profit on the low. So very strong move there. The weaker the move, the more take profits you'll see. Where would be a good entry for the long? So a good entry for the long on today's low would have been Friday's VWAP. That was a really good level. If you're being more conservative, it would have been that strong close above VWAP. That 5-minute candle was completely breaking market structure, closing above VWAP. Were there any other levels there? I think we had like a Valeria low as well. Oh no, it was the overnight low. The overnight low was a big level. So we talk about overnight low sweeps all the time. This is an overnight low sweep. So you had the overnight low right there, and you swept that level. That was also a decent entry point as well. There were a couple levels, but those were the big ones. Friday's VWAP, overnight low, and then the strong 5-minute close. Pretty weak candle here. Nice little top doji on the 30-minute. Five-minute trail being broken. They're trying to lose the 24 EMA trail. Where can I get the bot? So the bot is by itself on our website. You get it as being a Discord member as well. You also get it for being a part of our Apex partnership. So if you use our Apex link, or use our promo code, I mean, just send me an email. Let me know which TradingView username, or what's your TradingView username, and I'll get you added to the bot as well. Just send me a screenshot of the receipt that you used our code for, and then TradingView username, and you're good to go. You get access to the bot. the OTS, which is the trending indicator I was talking about earlier, and the momentum indicator as well. Yeah, exactly, Michael. Typically, I say, like, if I can catch a third of the move, I'm happy. On this one, I wouldn't even be happy on a third. I'd be happy on less than that. This move is huge. People piss themselves off because they look at giant moves like this and they're like, damn, I could have caught 50 points. They think they're going to trade everything perfectly and they could have bought the low and sold the top. That's just not how trading works. If you can catch a third of a giant move like this, even a quarter of this move, you're more than happy. Okay, possible rollover top coming in here. Here's a weak high. Here's a lower high coming in. Let's see if they can put in this rollover. Not the strongest rollover. You definitely don't see a ton of seller delta coming in. It'd be nice to break the 24 trail and then put in a lower high. That'd be nice. Holding on to the 24 EMA here makes it a vertical distribution. Vertical distributions kill rollover tops a lot of the times. We talked about this last time we had a distribution like this. You need to be careful taking those shorts because the vertical distribution kills shorts constantly. That's the job of the distribution. They want to make it look like it's a good short and just keep taking your liquidity. Like I was saying last time, it is worth it to take one or two stabs at it usually to see if you can catch a good short. Like if it gives you a really good pattern, if it looks like it's finally topping out. But if you lose like two small trades, you don't want to keep trying to short a vertical distribution. It's going to run you over. Yeah, Robert, the new normal is massive. The volatility has been insanely high. So what I would like to see for a better trade would be breaking these trails and then possibly putting in a lower high. This is a rollover top just by itself, but it would be nice to break that trail. It's a rollover top because you put in a weak high and then you put in a lower high. Nvidia is killing it today. Nvidia is up almost 5.5%. A good day for our shares. Micron up 3.5%, AMD up 2.5%. The chip market is flying. I haven't acquired any shares on Micron, so I'd like that thing to go down a little bit more. We don't have a poor high today. Poor highs are when the TPOs are overlapping. So when the highest point of the day has overlapping TPOs, not a single TPO. which we don't have right now. Yeah, the thing with the vertical distributions is if you take profit on your long and then it pulls back to the 24 and still bounces, you can re-enter. It's a little dangerous. But yeah, you can re-enter. Okay, rollover top starting to work out here. There is that 24 trail being broken, 5-minute trail being broken, value area high being broken. Let's see if we can go back to the POC. $30-minute high being swept. The high is 92. There is no absorption. It would have been nice to, I guess there kind of is. There's a little bit of delta being absorbed here. It's just not right on the high. Typically, you want it to be right on the high. I guess that is okay because that's the lower high there. So a little bit of absorption on the lower high. Okay, so this might be doing what I said earlier, where it breaks that 24 trail, then puts in another lower high. As long as it stays below like 94 to 95, it should be okay here. Realistically, 94. You don't want this to get it back above 94. I mean, to be honest, 92 even, because 92 is the 30-minute high, so we don't want to see it go back up too much if you want to short that. So standard rollover top take profits are VWAP and the point of origin, which would be ridiculous on this move. Typically, it's not this far away. But that would be the first main target, and the point of origin would be the second main target. Now, because these are so far away, you could probably target the top of the POC node, which is around 85. That'd be like right there. So those are the three main target points. We'll see how this 30-minute candle closes. It might give us one of those wicks that we talked about yesterday in our overlapping wick video. Looks like it might be doing what I said earlier. If it gets back above the 24, just look for 94. As long as it stays below 94, it's fine. You definitely want to see more sell pressure here for the rollover top. It's getting a little bit, it's stalling a little too much. We need to lose these lows here. This is the 5-minute ADMA, which is another trail that you could use. A little bit more conservative. Rollover tops should be fast, right? This impulse down should be quick. The fact that it's stalling is definitely weak. The slow part of the rollover top is when it's forming that top. When it starts to leave the top, it should be very quick. Because you want to see that cascading sell pressure. You want to see it start to ramp up and then it just get worse and worse, right? Let's see if it's doing just that. Here we go. Okay, first target has been achieved at the POC. POC upper node. Second target is VWAP. Final target is the point of origin. And there you go. That's the speed we were looking for. We were looking for it to speed up a lot more. Second target has been achieved. There's VWAP. Next target, point of origin. Now, obviously, these levels are being front run. I'm not saying the exact levels. Here's VWAP. Point of origin is the final target, which would be pretty nasty. It'd be a 50-point move. Gotta watch out for those absorptions, man. The 30-minute clusters, they're just calling the levels today. Absorption on the high day, absorption on the low day. And this is exactly what I just said. This is the cascading failure we were looking for. Value real low is around 66. That would be a decent target as well. Here is some buyer demand from earlier. Shouldn't be too much. Cascading failure is pretty strong here. Keep an eye on 60 down to 50. There's the 60 target. Next target would be the point of origin, which is anywhere from 60 down to the low. But this entire move is the point of origin. It is the price action that originated this entire push up. Was there news? I'm not sure. I wasn't watching the news. There were more headlines about Iran possibly attacking Israel in the next 24 hours. That could have done it. When did this move start? This move started. Yeah, that was about the same time. There was a headline around here that said Iran is possibly going to attack Israel in the next 24 hours. And that right there is a prime example of a waterfall in the bots as well. The 1 minute sold at 90, and then they started to waterfall downward. Obviously, this move was so fast that you could not have waited. So this is a good example of what I was saying earlier. If you miss this rollover top, it's actually funny as hell. I basically said this was going to happen when we were making up a fake example, because the fake example that I was giving was that there was a rollover top here and then it waterfalled into the bot. That's pretty funny. But yeah, what I was saying earlier was if there's a rollover top here and then you miss the rollover top entry and then you start to see those bot signals come in, you can take those signals as long as they're not super far away, right? So the 1 minute sell came in here. So that was safe to take. But after the 1 minute sell, these were not safe to take because your targets were already being hit. I just messed my chart up. Let me fix that. Give me 1 second. There, I posted exactly how I traded that on in Discord. Let me pull that up. It's hard to do because I'm on my iPad. I'm flicking around. Give me 1 second. So it's hard to show everything because, like I said, this is on my iPad. But here is my screenshot from Trade of 8. So I traded that exactly how I called it out on stream. There's no funny business going on here. That rollover top was right there. We shorted, exit exactly where I said, POC node, exit exactly where I said, VWAP, exit again exactly where I said, 60. Now, the final trail, like I said, there are many ways you can trail this. 5 minute highs, bots, 24 EMA on the 1 minute, which is pretty far away at this point. And probably VWAP. You could use VWAP here as well. That is what we call a perfect trade. That is pretty clean. How did I identify the rollover top? So you had a weak high, so you pushed up. You put in a weak high. A weak high is when you break out of a level, like a breakout of a high, break out of a major level, but then you fail right away. So it broke out into a new high, failed, then you retested that high, and then you showed there was sell pressure there. So they showed there was sell pressure in the first weak high, and they confirmed the sell pressure on the second high. And that's exactly where we shorted. My entry was 93.50. So not exactly the high, it was pretty damn close. Yeah, exactly, Simon. Stop loss was like 98. So we had like a 5-point stop there. No trails have been broken. This trade is continuing. Next level would be mid 50s. Mid 50s, and then 43. I'm not sure what that is, Astro. I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, the NASDAQ rollover top was pretty much exactly the same. So you had a strong level right here. You broke that strong level, retested it. There's the rollover. NASDAQ is, yeah, the charts are identical. The charts are bar by bar identical. So right now we have this point of origin being tested. This is the point of origin of that move. Same thing on NASDAQ. Here's the point of origin. So with the rollover top, as I said earlier, VWAP, main target, and then point of origin. So this one would have given you 5 points was the scalping target, where the POC was. The main target was, let me see. Sorry, about 10 points on the POC, and then about 20 points on VWAP, and then about 30 to 50 points on the point of origin. Who caught that trade in here? Let me know in chat. That's the trade I was talking about last week. I mean, we talk about it every week, but last week we were talking about how you need 3 setups right now. And that's the number one setup. The rollover top, 30-minute sweeps, which this setup actually was a 30-minute sweep as well. So this was 2 of the 3. And then the third setup is trailing the 5-minute highs and lows, which is not exactly a setup. It's more of a trail. So this trade had all 3 of those things in one trade. You had the rollover top, you had the 30-minute sweep, and you had the 5-minute trail. So this was a trifecta. Very, very good trade. It's not over. It still has room to go. We'll see if it continues to go down. That was a 0 drawdown trade as well. There's basically no point during that trade that you took drawdown. So any entry right here, there was 0 drawdown. I might have to like clip that from this video and edit it so I have a good example to show you guys whenever I say rollover top, because that was literally like textbook. The only thing that was weak about that rollover top is right at the beginning. Like I said, you want those to be fast. You do not want them to be slow. When it starts to sell off, you need it to be fast because the entire point of the rollover top is to have a cascading failure. So this stall right there, that was a little dangerous. That was a little worrying. But then it sped up instantly when that news started coming out. So kind of got saved by news a little bit, but the pattern was beautiful on the technical side as well. Yeah, Michael, that would have been a hard one. If you stepped away from your computer around 11:20, that definitely was bad timing. I've pushed my lunch out to like 1 to 2 p.m. because typically the markets are a little slow around that time. I've kind of trained my body to eat around that time. I try to at least. Okay, keep an eye on this 30-minute candle. If they start to bounce back above VWAP, this will create a demand zone. This will create an overlapping wick demand zone. We talked about that yesterday. Yeah, right now we're currently in a rotation. So if we ignore everything else and we say that we're holding 64, as long as 64 holds, it is looking for the rotation back to the high. The problem with this rotation is that sell-off was exceptionally strong, and now we're in a bear flag, so the likelihood of a failed rotation is pretty high. So the likelihood of it failing VWAP and failing to rotate is very high. But we'll see what it does. To be honest, that rollover top is what I would call a one and done. If you caught that trade, you're pretty much done for the day. That is a massive trade. Unless you see like a very good pattern after that, I wouldn't be throwing your money away. You're still technically holding that trade as well. There has been no massive killer on that trade. You are slowly breaking the 5-minute highs, but by like a point. You could still be trailing that. I would say as long as we hold below VWAP, your trail is okay. Yeah, Bjorn, the cumulative delta works very well on both ES and NASDAQ. Some days one of them will be manipulated, which I hate to use that word, but some days one of them will be pushed in a direction by block trades or walls or something like that, and the other one will not be. So typically it helps when you're seeing one of the deltas be pushed, skewed, I guess you would say, in a certain direction. You can keep an eye on the other delta to give you kind of the actual delta, what the delta should look like. Today they're like bar by bar identical, so there's no weird manipulation going on. I don't like to use the word manipulation because people overuse it in trading as an excuse why they're losing trades. If you find yourself crying about the market being manipulated, you need to take responsibility for your own trades and stop blaming the market. That is probably the most overused word in trading. So right now we are in the point of origin of that major move up. So basically this entire accumulation is a buyer demand zone. Normally, with these rollover trades, we want to sweep that accumulation. We want to grab that liquidity. So possibly the liquidity down here. But you have to understand that that entire zone is a demand zone. Single prints. What single prints do we have? I don't think we have any single prints. Appreciate you guys hanging out today. We're at 116 likes. That's awesome. Thank you guys. All right, let's take a look around while this is cooling off. That didn't pull back NASDAQ, or sorry, NVIDIA too much. NVIDIA back to VWAP. It wasn't that bearish of a move across the board. It seems like it's a bit of an overreaction on the indexes. NVIDIA, one of the biggest movers today. Still showing a potential tweezer bottom on the value real low here. So if we're looking at just the cash profile, not the full session, there is a little bit of a zone here. You can see all these overlapping wicks right here. A lot of wicks here, flipping them again. So big zone around the mid 50s to 60. We're already watching that area. That level lines up with a lot of different things. But all right, guys, we streamed over our time a bit here. I wanted to cover this trade for you guys. This trade is still intact as long as you stay below VWAP and below the 24 EMA. Final targets would be low 50s, grabbing that point of origin entirely. Hopefully you guys were able to catch some of that move. That was a very nice trade there. If not, we'll see you back tomorrow. We'll grab some new trades. But all right, guys, appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe if you guys are new. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll try to be on time for our pre-market stream. Sorry about being late today. Pre-market stream at 8:30. The regular stream at 9:30. And then I'll see you guys in Discord for the rest of the day as well. If you guys haven't already, be sure to check out our stream partners. We're partnered up with Apex and Addis. Apex still has their 80% off sale. If you guys do not have access to the trading bots, the Momo, the OTS, if you guys sign up for Addis using our code, send me an email. Just screenshot your receipt. Let me know, hey, I use your code. Here's my TradingView name. And I'll get you guys added to those indicators to help you guys get funded. If you guys haven't checked out Addis, check them out. Free trial there. If you guys want to get your free trial extended, just hit me up on my email. I'll get it extended to 30 days. But all right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.